Hello, everyone. The home that Jay built with great effort for Huyen and Maya is on the verge of completion. Every bamboo piece and every brick is not just material but also a testament to his silent love and sacrifices for his mother and daughter. However, behind Jay's warm smile lies a secret that Huyen still doesn't know. In the moment when Jay presses Huyen's hand, her eyes sparkle with deep trust, like a marriage proposal. Maya bursts into laughter, while Huyen trembles softly, her heart torn between joy and doubt. Then, something entirely unexpected happens. The gift Jay wants to give Huyen. But it's not just a gift. It's a promise, the beginning of a new path. Will Huyen have the courage to wear that dress, confront a painful past, and open her heart to love? Leave your comments on Hello Dress, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to follow the story, because behind that white dress lies a shocking secret waiting to be revealed. Now, let's dive into the story. Jay was wearing old clothes, a faded shirt, and worn-out shoes. She stood for a moment silently at the threshold of the house, her gaze fixed, though worry still lingered in her depths. The roof of the new house was about to be finished, but for a real home, more was needed. It needed warmth. It needed enough strength to support Huyen and Maya. She looked at them, busy preparing some small ropes. Jay smiled tenderly, hiding her exhaustion. "I'll go out to see if I can find extra work. When we finish the roof, we'll need a lot of things," she said. Huyen paused for a moment, her eyes full of worry. She adjusted her worn clothes on her heartstrings. She knew Jay was pushing herself to the limit to provide a safe home for her and her daughter. She didn't stop her but nodded gently, her voice faltering. "Take care of yourself. Maya and I will manage here." Maya ran behind her mother toward the rice fields. She carried a small basket on her back and moved with her delicate steps along the dusty red path. The field glowed under the midday sun, with stacks of straw piled high, and the scent of dry leaves wafted in the air. The mother and daughter began gathering dry leaves. Maya's small hands tried to carry a bundle bigger than her body. She walked and laughed at the same time. "Mom, I'll collect so much that our roof will never leak again." Huyen looked at her with pride in her throat. She remembered those days when she had to bear everything alone, the heavy rains that forced them to embrace each other inside a crumbling hut. Now, seeing Maya laugh in the middle of the field lit by the sunset, she felt warmth in her heart, as if a part of her dream had come true. Meanwhile, Jay's body was fading at the turn of the road. The evening light fell on her steps, staining her worn clothes red. She knew the path to earning a living would be difficult, but every step she took was like a silent oath. Regardless of the difficulties awaiting her, she would do everything in her power to ensure a complete and peaceful life for Huyen and Maya. She walked slowly through a narrow street amid the smell of dust and the noise of the evening market. Her rough hand gripped the pocket of her jacket, where she carried only a few loose papers, the result of many days of hard work. Suddenly, her gaze stopped. Across the street, a bridal dress shop sparkled in the golden sunset light. The large sky-blue window glowed fully, and in the middle of that scene, a pure white dress shone, flawless, as if it radiated its own light. Jay stood still for a long moment. An image appeared in her mind of Huyen in that dress, smiling brightly while scattering small flowers in the air. The scene made her heart race, as if it were about to explode. Yet, her hand tightened in her pocket, the light highlighting the veins of her skin. She took a deep breath and cast a sad glance at her eyes before lowering her head in silence. "I must make a greater effort. This gift cannot remain a dream behind a shop window. One day, it will be for Huyen, and that day will be the sweetest in my life." She walked on, her thin body disappearing into the crowd. But a strong flame still burned in her eyes, the flame of a man ready to give everything to ensure complete happiness for the woman he loves and the little girl he feels is his daughter. Behind her, the white dress continued to shine in the evening light, like a silent promise waiting for its day to come true. The twilight descended, and the red earth path was colored by the setting sun's light, stretching like a burning ribbon. Huyen walked, holding Maya's hand, humming softly beside her daughter. Their laughter blended with the chirping of birds returning to their nests. It was a hard day in the fields, but Huyen's heart trembled inside her. A home was being built, and a man was rebuilding his life from the ruins, silently, for their sake alone. Suddenly, she stopped in her tracks. In a moment, Huyen's eyes widened, and her body tensed. Not far away, under the shade of a tree by the roadside, stood a familiar shadow, its back turned toward them. That posture, that way of standing, it couldn't be wrong. "No, it can't be," Huyen whispered, her trembling hand gripping Maya's tightly. Maya looked at her strangely. "Mom, why did you stop?" Huyen didn't answer. Her heart was pounding hard, her breath uneven. Memories flooded back, days of suffering, silent tears, nights spent fleeing in the rain with tattered clothes in her arms. "It's him," she swallowed her saliva, her eyes not leaving the fixed back, as if waiting. A light breeze moved the man's hair. Huyen took a step back, her body stiff. Her mind filled with questions. If it was really him, if he came back to take Maya from me, what would happen? Maya squeezed her mother's hand and asked quietly, "Mom, what are you afraid of?" Huyen looked down, her eyes teary and bright. Suddenly, she realized she wasn't trembling from the past, but from fear of losing what she had now. "I have a home, a man who loves us with all his heart. If that broke, I would regret it for the rest of my life." She took a deep breath, gathered her courage, and took a few steps forward. Then she turned to the man. It wasn't Zook, but a stranger with a similar build. Everything collapsed, then rose in a moment. Huyen stood still for a moment, then let out a light laugh mixed with tears. She squeezed Maya's hand tightly and whispered, "It's okay, my daughter. I imagined something." "What, Mom? What?" "I'm so happy to be with you, and no one will ruin that." The mother and daughter continued walking, surrounded by the warm sunset light. In the distance, the bamboo house awaited them, where a man still stared at the horizon, waiting for their return. Night fell, and the new bamboo house was still filled with the scent of wood and dry leaves. The fire burned carefully in one corner, lighting Jay's face, adding a spark of warmth and distance to her eyes. Little Maya sat on her bed, moving her feet while muttering words from an old notebook. The firelight danced on her soft hair, and the quiet atmosphere felt like a safe haven. Footsteps were heard on the porch. The bamboo door opened gently, and she entered. Her old clothes were covered in road dust, and sweat still covered her forehead. She exhaled slowly, her eyes tired but shining when she saw Huyen and Maya by the fire. Huyen watched her silently, following every step. She waited until she sat by the fire, then offered her a cup of hot water. The flames revealed the marks of work on her hardened hands. In a trembling voice, as if hiding something, Jay asked, "Huyen, are you very tired?" She sipped and smiled a forced smile. "Just seeing you and Maya here erases all the fatigue." At that moment, Huyen looked down, their fingers intertwined. The image she saw that evening came back to her mind, and her heart raced. After an internal struggle, she whispered, afraid Maya might hear, "I saw a very familiar shadow today. I thought it was him." Jay froze. Her expression hardened. She set the cup aside and gripped her knees tightly. The firelight reflected in her eyes, burning like a dormant wave. Huyen continued in a trembling voice, "But in the end, it was just an illusion. I hid myself only because I'm afraid of losing this happiness." Silence filled the room. The sound of crackling firewood grew louder in the heavy atmosphere. Maya continued reading quietly, unaware of the growing tension between her parents. Then she reached out and placed her hand on Huyen's. Her voice was deep but firm. "I swear, even if someone came, even if storms fell, I won't let you and Maya lose this happiness again." Huyen raised her head, her teary eyes meeting hers. In that moment, she felt relief, but also greater fear. She knew that if the storms truly fell, this oath would cost Jay all her strength and heart. The fire burned stronger, casting their 3 shadows on the bamboo wall. A shadowy image of a small, happy family. But would it withstand the secrets still waiting to be revealed?